Hi, my name is Bill Wasserberger, Director of Research and Development for Brunswick Bowling Consumer Products. In this presentation, we will be looking at the USBC's proposed ban on the use of extra holes. The proposed USBC rule changes appear to contain assumptions and assertions that run counter to the concepts the Brunswick R&D team has taught in our Pro Shop seminars since 1991. It is Brunswick's hope that these videos will improve the fact base from which an informed decision can be made regarding the proposed rule changes. The proposed USBC ban on the use of extra holes would require all balls drilled after January 1, 2006 to be drilled without an extra hole. After January 1, 2008, all balls used in USBC competition would have to be extra hole free. No extra holes allowed. Non-compliant balls will have to be plugged and re-drilled or discarded. Brunswick does not support this rule change. The proposed rule change will have little or no effect on the range of available ball reactions, and therefore have little or no effect on any objective measurement of credibility or integrity in our sport. Also, Brunswick does not support rule changes that make our products less user-friendly. The proposed rule change would limit the ability of the pro shop and bowler to fine-tune the reaction characteristics of an expensive purchase. In their May 20, 2005 press release, the USBC made the following statement. Additionally, these proposed changes eliminate the ability to manipulate the RG differential of a drilled bowling ball via a balance hole. Increasing the RG differential adds flair, which again has a direct relationship to increased entry angle and scoring. Two common but inaccurate assumptions may have influenced the proposed ban on the use of extra holes. The first, that track flare by itself makes the ball hook, and the second, that more track flare always results in more hooking action and breakpoint angularity. As we will see, both of these assumptions are false. To examine the first assumption, we will use ThrowBot to throw an undrilled ball that can be released on both flaring and non-flaring axes. When released on an axis that places the pin 6 3/4 inches away, the ball will not flare. When released on an axis that places the pin 3 3/8 inches away, the ball will flare. Since we want to examine whether flare makes the ball hook, we will eliminate the side roll the bowler applies at the time of release. The ball will just be rolling end over end. What you are looking at now is the ball being released with the pin 6 3/4 inches from axis. Notice how the axis is stable and that with the end over end roll, the ball goes straight. Now we add in the same ball being released with the pin 3 3/8 inches from axis. Notice how the white marking moves away from the axis, indicating that track flare is occurring. Also notice that the ball is still going straight. Now let's go back and forth between the two balls, flaring and non-flaring. No difference in ball reaction. Does track flare by itself make the ball hook? No. It's a common misconception that track flare produces some kind of force that creates more hooking action. Our example shows that this is clearly incorrect. Bowlers can easily check this example for themselves. Take a ball that flares a lot and throw it straight. When the bowler achieves an end over end roll, the ball will go straight, but have the same track flare pattern as your normal release. Now on to the second common misconception. Since 1991, the Brunswick R&D team has taught a concept we call the track flare effect to control ball reactions. Brunswick defines the track flare effect as oil picked up on one revolution is moved out of the way to varying degrees for the next revolution, exposing fresh ball surface, which increases friction potential and hook potential. Since 1993, the Brunswick R&D team has used this drawing to illustrate a concept we call the limit of the track flare effect, which we have defined as at the widest point of the track, normally above the fingers. If the separation from track to track is approximately 3/8 of an inch, we've reached the limit of the track flare effect. the law of diminishing return has set in. Large changes in ball reaction due to increasing flare are no longer possible. We've put together a 3-ball set of absolute infernos, pulled from the production line before engraving to illustrate the limit of the track flare effect. The absolute inferno has an RG differential of 0.050 out of the USBC's available range of 0.060, which makes it a high differential ball. Ball number 1 has the pin 5 3/4 inches from axis, which is marked with a white sticker, with the CG near the grip center. Ball number 2 has the pin 3 3/8 inches from axis, which is marked with a yellow sticker, with the CG near the grip center. Ball number 3 has the pin 3 3/8 inches from axis, which is marked with a green axis sticker. The CG is out by the bowler's axis. There is an extra hole 1 1/4 inches in diameter and 2 1/4 inches deep, 6 3/4 inches from the pin in a flare increasing position. In our first demo, Billy Orlikowski is going back and forth between ball number 1 and ball number 2 on a smoothly blended 3-to-1 tapered 40-foot lane pattern. First, let's watch the axis markers. Notice that the white axis marker on the ball with the 5 3/4 inch pin moves away from the axis more slowly than the yellow axis marker on the ball with the 3 3/8 inch pin. This indicates that the ball with the 5 3/4 inch pin is flaring less than the ball with the 3 3/8 inch pin. Taking a look at the oil picked up on the balls, you can see a large difference in the amount of track flare between ball number 1 and ball number 2. Now watch the ball reaction. Not much difference. This is the limit of the track flare effect in action. In our second example, we will be comparing ball number 1 and ball number 3. Remember, ball number 1 had the pin 5 3/4 inches from axis with a white axis marker. Ball number 3 has the pin 3 3/8 inches from axis, with the CG out by the bowler's axis and an extra hole 6 3/4 inches from the pin. The addition of the extra hole changes the 0.050 undrilled RG differential of the ball to a drilled value of 0.062. While this raises the RG differential of the drilled ball over the USBC undrilled limit, is this really an advantage? As in the first example, notice that the white axis marker on the ball moves away from the axis more slowly than the green axis marker on ball 3. Again, this indicates that the ball with the 5 3/4 inch pin is flaring less. Taking a look at the oil picked up on the balls, you can see a large difference in the amount of track flare between ball number 1 and ball number 3. Now watch the ball reaction. Again, not much difference. This is the limit of the track flare effect at work. But there is one difference. Ball number 3 is tracking over the extra hole. Experienced pro shops know that you can't drill a high track flare potential ball with a high flare pin position and use a flare increasing hole without tracking over the extra hole. Ball number 3 represents all of what the USBC is trying to ban. A high track flare potential ball, drilled with a maximum track flare pin position and the CG away from the grip center. including a flare-increasing extra hole that effectively creates a ball with an RG differential above the current USBC limits. And what advantage does ball number 3 deliver to the bowler? None. Despite massive amounts of track flare, there is little difference in the reactions of the demo balls. The USBC's proposed ban on the use of extra holes will have little or no effect on the range of available ball reactions because most balls sold today have RG differentials high enough so they can be drilled beyond the limit of the track flare effect without using extra holes. The USBC's proposed ban on the use of extra holes would force bowlers to plug and re-drill or discard thousands of bowling balls for no credible reason, and it would also reduce the ability of the pro shop and the bowlers to fine-tune the performance of an expensive purchase. Brunswick stands as the bowler's advocate. Brunswick urges the USBC to refrain from placing unnecessary burdens and ineffective regulations on the bowling public. Thank you for listening to this Brunswick presentation.